Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The Tennessee walking horse is a very significant sport and business enterprise for Tennessee. The industry has been clobbered over the last few years with an inordinate amount of bad publicity having to do with soaring, which is an abuse of the horses, and that publicity seems to have been really pushed by the U.S. Humane Society for reasons of their own. And in that connection, there's been a recent development there that's kind of interesting. So we thought it'd be worthwhile to take a fresh look at where things stand and where they're headed. And for that, we have with us Jerry Harris. Jerry, I should mention, is connected with P-Head Production, our production operation. He's one of the partners in the business and has the Walking Horse show regularly. And but he's also been out there with the walking horses, I think he said, since he was 10 years old.
That's right.
Yeah. So welcome, Jerry. And anything else you want to tell the folks about yourself? Anything of?
I want everybody to know one thing. I love my horses and I give them treats regularly. They are not abused. That's
okay.
For sure.
All right. Let's take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and get started.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Jerry Harris, who has been a passionate participant in the walking horse industry for many years. And Jerry, remind folks what the significance of the walking horse business is to Tennessee.
Well, Tom, the walking horse means to Tennessee is out 10 days out of a year. There's over $40 million brought in directly to Middle Tennessee. The problem is...
In connection with the celebration?
Connection with the celebration. And that 10-day show supports 14 different nonprofit charity organizations. During the year, nationwide, there's over 250 shows that have shows to raise funds for their charity. A great many of those are in Middle Tennessee. So it's hard to go a weekend during the summer that somewhere in Middle Tennessee there's not a horse show that's raising money for one charity or another, be it a football program for youth programs, or the Cancer Society, or the local Humane Society.
But you're saying it's in the aggregate it's worth about $40 million a year?
Over those 10 days it is. Over the year, I'd have to say what it's worth. I do know that when you go to the celebration, at one time there's over 160,000 people attended the celebration. Now that's down to about 70,000. All of that has transpired in the last 7 to 8 years. And it's all contributed to the misuse of the Horse Protection Act.
Well, okay. Speaking of the Horse Protection Act, tell the folks a little bit about the act. What's it?
The Horse Protection Act was written and put into force in 1970. It was to stop an abuse called soaring. which those horses have long been gone. At that time, it was kind of like, when I grew up, if I did something bad, my mother or my daddy wanted to get a switch and they'd wear my little back end out. Well, that was accepted then, it's not now. Back then, that soring a horse was pretty much accepted. People just took it for granted. It's not anymore, and that doesn't happen now. The walking horse will react to weight and a little action device. It's a little chain, 6 ounces is a maximum, but it tries to step out of it. That and the weight will give us that high step that we really like in a walking horse. But a lot of it's just natural talent. If he's not bred right, he's never going to do that.
Okay, but the Horse Protection Act then, and it's administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Right.
They have a particular division within the USDA that looks after the horse industry.
Yeah, they have a group. Kevin Shea is the director. Then you have Chester Gibson, and then Rachel Caesar, and then you have the veterinary medical officers, which are the inspectors. They're the ones that come inspect the horses.
Well, tell me, if this act was passed in 1970 and they've been regulating the industry ever since, why are we still having trouble every year over inspections and inspection standards? Hadn't it been around long enough to figure that out?
Well, it has come to the point now, after all these years, that they cannot find a sore horse, what they call a sore horse, one that'll pull his foot back and won't let you check him. That's all but gone. So now what they use is a scar rule. And it's got so bad that one veterinarian said, there is a scar here, even though it's only 2 to 3 cells thick. Now, that right there is 600,000 cells, but he can feel 2 or 3 of them on a horse. Now that's I'm not exaggerating and I'm not dreaming. This was videoed, voice recorded. The man stood there and said that. So
what are you saying? They continually change the inspection? Is it not possible to set this up in some sort of a scientific basis?
Well, that's what the industry is fighting for now. They even brought in a group during the celebration, independent from the walking horse. They went to other industries and brought in veterinarians, well-known veterinarians that they called the VAC, which was the Veterinary Advisory Committee. Their job was to check horses all during the celebration and randomly. In other words, you didn't know whether you was going to get checked or not. They drew blood, they pulled shoes, they palpated, they did everything to feasibly find anything wrong, x-rayed the horses and all. They didn't find anything. Now, we haven't got the blood test back yet, but I don't really look to see anything that people could say was harmful to the horse even in those blood tests. But we took that upon ourselves to do, the industry did. So we're trying to show people that no matter what they say, what the USDA is saying, there's nothing wrong with these horses. There's one horse they turned down, and it was taken to the University of Auburn, to the equine clinic, LSU, to their equine clinic. We've got the reports, and the reports state that there is no evidence of abuse or prior abuse, no thickening of the skin, which you must have in order to have a scar. There's none of that there. But yet there's one VMO, veterinary medical officer with the USDA, that continues to turn that horse down. And that might add that that's the same horse that a text message was sent from Dr. Caesar, who is with the USDA, was sent to the head designated qualified person with the Show Horse Industry Inspection Organization, sent him a text message telling him that he had better turn that horse down or they would be heck to pay. And we had the text message that she actually sent.
What's going on with the USDA that they keep tightening the standards and changing the rules?
I think a lot of it has to do with Representative Congressman Whitfield out of Kentucky. His wife is a lobbyist.
Well, before you get into that, I think, we want to talk about that, but he comes into being because he has sponsored a new bill.
Right.
I don't know what the name of it is.
PAST Act.
The PAST.
That's what they call it, PAST Act.
Stands for something.
It's to restrict the pads and the action devices off the walking horse.
And in effect, that says you don't do anything. There's no such thing as any kind of enhancement at all.
No. The weighted shoes and all would go. Our horse, as we know it, it would still do the country pleasure walk, which we do have a couple of classes. But to give you an idea, if you go to a flat shod show, and I love the flat shod horses too, but if you have 30 horses in the ring competing, you might have 25, maybe 50 people in the stands watching. But if you went to a padded horse show and you had 30 horses in the ring competing, you'd have 30 or 40,000 in the stands watching. Now there's your difference, and that's the difference in the money raised. But all of it comes back to the fact that Congressman Whitfield introduced the bill, which I might add was written. It was written by the Humane Society of the United States, which that's documented too.
I was going to ask, why did he introduce the bill to start with?
Because his wife is a lobbyist for the Humane Society of the United States. So they are being investigated now by the Ethics Committee because of Whitfield allowing his wife to use his office and his personnel to push her needs for the Humane Society of the United States, which that is very unethical. And I don't know, some people think it's illegal, but his wife is not supposed to be in there using his people or having them set up meetings with other congressmen.
Well, that was a pretty strong article in the paper not long ago, and it looks like the House Ethics Committee, there was some pretty strong language in there from the Ethics Committee, that indicated that there was a pretty serious violation there. Now, it's a violation of the House rules. Whether it's a violation of the law, as you indicated, I don't have any idea. I haven't heard that question addressed. But he's from Kentucky, which has pretty good walking horse population.
There's a lot of walking horses up there, but still, again, you've got a group out here, Humane Society of the United States, that raises millions and millions of dollars every year. And I'm not talking about 30 or 40 million, I'm talking about 110, 111, 14 million a year. That's a whole lot of money to be spread around. And a lot of their tactics are, well, they're next to criminal now. They've already been charged with the RICO Act, and they had to pay a substantial fine to Ringling Brothers for paying a witness to testify in court. Now, this went on for years, and finally it was found out what was going on, so that put an end to that. But it still doesn't stop them from going back and getting pictures of back in the 60s and early 70s and using them to tell people that's what our horse looks like today. And Tom, that's not true. I am the first one to say, and I stand by it, the Horse Protection Act is a great, great law. It was badly needed. It came at a good time, but it's over. The horse that law was written for is no longer here. Now they're stretching and reaching to get a horse, and it's got to the point now to where, in video documentation backs me up, they will give a horse a ticket for a scar and unable to show that scar. And they refuse to even try to show the scar. And most of those will get a warning letter. They'll never prosecute them. But then when they're listed in the database as being a horse abuser, that they have got a violation for horse abuse, they've never had their day in court. They just send them a warning letter.
Yeah, that's a good point. We need to touch on that too, what the what the penalties are in connection with the infraction of the act. But before we do that, let's take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll be right back.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
The Russell Barnett Automotive family would like to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. For the past 34 years, we've proudly served you in the new and pre-owned automotive industry. We look forward to serving you many years to come. We have over 1,000 vehicles to choose from at russellbarnett.com. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevrolet, GMC, and Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma. That's russellbarnett.com. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Jerry Harris, and we're trying to catch up on some of the events going on in the walking horse industry, and we'd like to think that we might be able to clear up a few things and satisfy the public that things are not as they sometimes appear. Before the break, Jerry, we were about to touch on the fact the Horse Protection Act does have some penalty provisions in it. Briefly, what are those?
They have all different types of penalties, but normally this is the way it works. They would catch somebody or give someone a ticket, and then they may wait a year, 2 years, even 4 years, even longer, and come back and say, well, we're fixing to try that case. But if you will take a 6-year suspension and a $10,000 fine, we'll just settle for that. And you say, well, I'm not going to do it. So they come back with another offer, and it just keeps going, and give you an example of one. They wanted 4 years and a $4,000 fine from one gentleman, and he ended up paying no suspension. He paid a $200 fine with no admission of guilt.
Can you wind up in jail if under that provisions of that law for anything?
Well, yeah, you could if they could prove it. But see, here's the whole deal.
Nobody's ever been jailed, though.
They got to prove it. Now, Show did catch one gentleman, and he ended up spending time in jail. And another one that was on suspension was caught by the USDA.
That's not the USDA.
No, Show is a horse inspection organization. They're the ones that caught him, but he was prosecuted outside the industry and ended up spending, I think, 18 months in jail. But Show had suspended him for life, and but now the USDA overrode that, and now he's back training. And there was other trainers that they suspended. I mean, it's kind of like, hey, we know you caught him, and we know what he did was wrong, but we're going to override it and let him go as time served. But what we want you to do is go give that guy right there a ticket, and we're going to get him. So it's the same thing. They point out they want you to get certain people and let certain people go.
Little horse trading going on there, huh?
Well, I'm not sure what it is, Tom. I do know that Honors is considered by many one of the greatest horses that ever lived. They don't want him in the show ring. And I guess that's because he is considered that good, and they think the more they turn him down, that they're just lowering his value. And I think that's what they're after. I really do. It's just to destroy an industry from within. Celebration this year, they turned down a bunch of horses. But only one problem. Every one of them's supposed to be out on Scarborough. the show HIO, which was there, would not ride them because they couldn't find anything wrong with them. Less than a month later, a little over 2 weeks later, 40-something% of those same horses that the USDA turned down showed in North Carolina in front of the same VMOs. The same veterinary medical officers up there checking them that checked them at the celebration. At the celebration, they had scars. Up there, they didn't. And he was there checking the same way, but they didn't have scars up there. Another one is Tunica this year. One of the veterinary medical officers asked one of the owners, said, we gave this horse a scar rule ticket at the celebration. Said, how'd you get his feet this clean? And the owner gave him the only answer that could feasibly be the truth. There wasn't no scar there to begin with.
No way to clean it up.
Well, if you've got a scar, and I've got them on my hands and everything, Tom, they don't go away.
No.
Field scars don't go away that horses get.
Let's talk a little bit more about is the Humane Society as involved with any other animal feature as they are with the horse or have been?
Well, what they've done, they had a lady, the Humane Society did, was one of their chief litigators, Sarah Condon. She filed several lawsuits against the USDA, and then shortly after that, she resigned. But 2 days after she resigned, she took a job with the USDA in a position that was created for her, that was a chief prosecutor. And strangely, but a few days later, the lawsuits were dropped by the Humane Society. And she has gone after everybody she possibly can. She has gone after the rabbit, the ferrets, you name it, and she's gone after them. So, yeah, they go after they go after the cattle business, the milk industry, the egg industry, but they are really on to the walking horse industry, and they do it with, like, they'll put a big sign up with a horse going across there slinging blood. That's non-existent. I mean, all that is a lie. It's kind of like Congressman Whitfield when he stood in Congress up there dropping a big log chain over and over and over on a table to insinuate that that's what these trainers use to train horses. The heaviest device they can use is 6 ounces.
Well, let's talk about that with the industry and the USDA. There is a squabble, and of course about whether there are some enhancement devices that are okay. Not soring, which is chemically injuring the horse or otherwise injuring it so that you can throw it up. But what is considered an acceptable device with the industry?
6 ounces. 6 ounces maximum.
6 ounce chain?
6 ounce chain. This chain on my wrist weighs 4 ounces. All right, of horse, and I weigh 185 pounds, a little heavy. But with this chain right here, you put it on a horse, and he's going to react to it. He feels it. He's going to. See, our horses don't wear that chain, but maybe 15 to 30 minutes, and then it comes off. So when it's on there, they try to get it off. They try to step out of it, and you put the weights on, like the shoe weight, it will cause them to lift their feet up.
Shoe weight, what is that?
That's the weight of the shoe, the package that they wear. They put a package.
And the industry considers that there's a shoe weight that's okay?
Right. Yes. The shoes, there's no limit on them that I know, but most of them weigh between 3 and 5 pounds. They don't weigh that much for a horse. You go weigh a pair of steel-toed tennis shoes and see what they weigh compared to a man. And that's what you're looking at. It's just people take it out of content. They don't look at what it really is. They try to create an illusion of something else, and it's just not there.
Okay. We're going to run out of time in a minute. Where are we headed, Jerry? Where do things?
Well, I hope we're headed to where the industry HIOs, horse inspection organizations, are allowed to inspect these horses the way they're supposed to, and the USDA will observe and grade them and quit selecting horses to turn down and quit attacking shows like the Celebration.
Does look like.
I hope that's where it goes.
The Celebration's kind of singled out. It looks
Right.
like, isn't it? On the okay. Well, I think we've run out of time, folks. So we're going to have to take a short commercial break and wrap up.
Imagine a world with more birthdays. We strive for it every day. We fight to get people the best access to care and the chance for more parties to plan. We're the American Cancer Society. Help create a world with more birthdays at morebirthdays.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We're back, folks, and we've been talking today with Jerry Harris, who is a passionate member and participant in the horse show business. And Jerry, we've been trying to figure out why things stay in this continuous state of a flux, and the public has become concerned, and that's shown up in the records. What can we say that gives them some assurance that things are really quite all right?
Well, if they look at the one thing was definitely if they look at the USDA's website, they're going to see where a lot of warning letters were sent. They will also see how many people were prosecuted. Now, one time there was 10 prosecuted, 1,200 something were sent warning letters. Of the 12 or the 10 prosecuted, none of them were found guilty. So, I mean, that's what we look at. If people, and I told you this, and I know it's a lot to ask, but if people really want to know, they can go to a show, they can look at these horses, there's so many things they could do to find the truth, rather than letting someone tell them what the truth is. I deal in facts. Someone tells me something, I go to the source. I go to look. I want you to show me. So I find out. If they say this horse is all banged up, I go right down to the trailer and ask them, can I see his foot? I mean, hey,
okay.
If there's nothing wrong, they're going to let you look.
Okay, we're out of time. Jerry, thanks for coming with us, and we thank you, show, for folks for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.